In this video, I'm going to go ahead and cover this mobile app that I vibe coded here using artificial intelligence. I use Cursor and the Codex model in order to go ahead and build this application. And the reason you're actually able to see the app, so this app that you see on my screen, I actually have it here, right? It's connected to my computer, so I actually can't drag it too far. But this device or this app that you see here is actually in my hands. I'm using a tool called Visor in order to screen share it here on the computer. And so basically what this app is, I wanted to turn one of my N8N workflows into a mobile app because I found that I was using a certain N8N workflow a lot, which is basically, it was a workflow to convert YouTube videos into an actual newsletter style summary, right? Because I didn't just want a video summary. I wanted to basically take content, put into a format that was actionable and just very pleasant to read. Okay, so starting from this screen here, right, this is basically going to be the screen where users can sign up or log in. So if I go ahead and just click on create account, you could see here where it says create your account. It has the Google social login feature. So this actually works. I'm using the Firebase SDK to have that working. Or the user can just basically go ahead and input their email address. They can create a password and they can also use that to create an account. And same thing, if you come to the login screen, you could see here that the user still has the option to continue with Google. Again, they can also use the email and the password option. In this case, I'm targeting the Google Play Store as really the first place to actually release this app. So depending on how that goes, I am thinking about creating an iOS version in the future. But for right now, it's just going to be targeting the Google Play Store. So again, this social login feature works. All of this works. So I'm going to go ahead and log into the app now and then dive into more detail there. Okay, so I am here on basically the home screen of the app. So this here is basically where the user would paste in the YouTube video or the URL to convert. And if I come over here to the history page, you can see here that this here is a prior video that I converted. So the quality on the screen share kind of distorts this a little bit, but still you can kind of see it here. So it has the summary. This here is the whole kind of actual summary that the AI put out. I also have the URL to the original YouTube video. If I want to delete it, I can. And then from here, I basically have the account page where you can actually buy credits. This is actually working through revenue cap. And right now, since I'm using the development build, right, I can actually test a purchase. So if I come here, you can actually see that I have 1 credit. So on a successful video conversion, it's actually going to go ahead and consume this credit. So with that being said, let's actually go ahead and get a YouTube URL that I can go ahead and convert. Okay, so I'm here on YouTube and this Alex Hormozi video here says how to choose the right business to start. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just click share. I'm gonna go ahead and copy this. And I'm just gonna go ahead and come back into the app here. And I'm just gonna go ahead and, whoops, just kind of paste it in here, all right? I'm gonna go ahead and hit convert. And then from here, the app's gonna go ahead and handle the conversion. So as you see here, I have the little text here that just flips. And basically when this is done, it's gonna go ahead and lay out the summary right here. Okay, and it just laid it out literally as I was finished talking there. So it says stop buying old lottery tickets, and this here is the whole thing, right? So much room is trying to cash away lottery tickets from drawing, right? And so basically what this does is that, as you see, it doesn't just take the video and just kind of converts it into a summary that's boring to read. It actually takes that video and it puts it into a newsletter style summary. And I'm saying that because it just makes this content a lot better to read, right? This content feels more actionable. It kind of hooks you a bit better, right? It gives you much more pleasant reading experience as you're also able to just basically grab all the main points from the video. Another thing that you might notice is that after this conversion came back, my credit consumption basically went, or my, not consumption, but the credits that I had went to 0. If I come back here to the history page and I just pull this down, refresh, you can see here that that video that I just converted is now here, right? And so I can actually consume the written content there as well. As far as getting more credits, right? So if I come here to an account and I hit buy credits, again, I'm using the development build, right? But right when this is in production, if I just go ahead and buy this credit pack, as you see here, I'm going to test a valid purchase. Again, this is happening through revenue cat. I have this modal that pops up here that basically just confirms it. If I continue, it puts me back to the home page. And as you see, I went from 0 credits to buying that 25 credit pack, and now I have 25 credits. And now I can go ahead and basically convert 25 more YouTube videos. All right, and that's basically how this app works. And then from there, you can also log right back out, and then bam, it takes you right back to this page where again, you can log back into the app. All right, so that's basically how this app works. And if I just go and reload the development server on my device over here, it's basically just gonna go ahead and refresh everything. And this is a little error that I'm just gonna go ahead and clean up. So again, this app is about 90% done. I just have to worry about some security patches. I'm going to fix a little error that you saw there, as well as just some kind of simple tune-ups before I actually start the process of submitting this to the Google Play Store. So that being said, now that you've seen the app and you've seen how it works, I do want to go ahead and just kind of cover exactly how it's built. And don't worry, I'm not going to be submitting it with this. This is just kind of a placeholder image. I'm going to go ahead and just build something much nicer that can go here. I'm still kind of iterating over some concepts. All right, but anyway, now that you see how the app works, or really what the app is, and you can kind of see how it works from a user perspective, I actually want to break down what's going on in the background and how this app is able to function and really how I was able to architect and build this app. So the way that most people kind of vibe code nowadays is that they'll go to an AI and they'll just kind of describe a feature, right? So they'll tell the AI, hey, build me an app that can do this. Build me an app where a user can paste in a YouTube video and I want to get a transcript and all those things, right? I actually started with a higher level architecture. This diagram, I actually have more diagrams. So for example, I actually have a very specific diagram on the whole backend API call process and how that works using my backend and the third-party service that I'm using to get the transcript and everything. But this that you're looking at, this sequence diagram, is just much more of a higher level abstraction of what's happening here. So just kind of looking at where I was in the user, right? So I was able to paste in a YouTube URL. So if I bring this back up, and actually let me go ahead and just log back in really quick. Okay, so I'm here in the home page, right? So from the user's perspective, right, they're going to paste in a YouTube URL. They're going to go ahead and hit the convert button here. So what's happening is that from the mobile application, it's actually sending a post request to my backend. So I built a backend using Fast API. It's literally my go-to backend for building these kind of backend APIs and services. So I have it built in Python and Fast API. And so basically what it's sending the user's JWT, right? So I'm using Firebase for authentication. So a JWT token, just note that it's basically a token to help me verify who the user is. So it's sending that information with the user information, the URL, and then from here in Postgres, which is my database, I'm actually using Postgres. So I'm not actually using Supabase. I'm actually using a self-hosted Postgres instance. And again, that's just my database. And if you don't know what Postgres is, just think of kind of Google Sheets, right? Rows and columns, rows and columns. So from here, it's going to go ahead and create a job in Postgres, right? So I have a table where it creates a job that this job is processing for this user. At the same time, or not at the same time, but once this job is successfully created, the backend's going to go ahead and call the transcription service that I'm using. The transcription service is going to go ahead and return a transcript of the video. And then from there, my backend's going to go ahead and take that transcript. It's going to send it to OpenRouter, which is basically what I'm using to access the LLM model. So in this case, I'm using a Google Gemini model. So it's going to go ahead and send it there with the whole prompt and everything that I have in order to get the summary. OpenRouter is going to do its thing here with the LLM. It's going to go ahead and send back the summary. And then from here, my backend's going to go ahead and link that summary up for the user. At the same time, it's going to go ahead and complete the job. So from here, there's processing. From here, it's going to be marked as complete. And then from here, it's going to go ahead and deduct the credit from the user. And then lastly, it's going to return a success status back to the app with the summary. And then basically it shows the summary, right? So from basically go ahead and pasting a video in here and hitting convert, this whole trip takes place, right? This whole process here takes place. And in doing so, right, there's a lot of kind of validation and backend things, right? Right, all these little nuances when you're building these services, right? Timeouts and retries and right, all these things, you know, job status, job queues and things like that. But again, this is basically the whole kind of backend trip that's happening, and it's returning that information back into the mobile app here. And then the same thing, I don't have a diagram for here, but basically the way that this history page works is that I have a completely separate get endpoint. And all that get endpoint is that it's getting the user ID from the mobile app. It's then turning around, it's going to go ahead and fetch information from the database for that user. And it's basically just going to go ahead and return the list of transcripts for the user. Now, I do have some pagination that I want to build in here. Pagination meaning that, well, if you went ahead and you converted 100 videos into transcripts, well, I don't want to return all 100 back to the app, right? I maybe only want to return the first 5 or 10. And then as the user's scrolling through, I'm just calling and getting more and more and more and more. That way it's a lot easier on the API calls to the backend. And then same thing, when I go ahead and I click on this video, it's doing a quick fetch to my backend. It's getting a query and it's basically returning this transcript. So this title, this information here, it's returning all of this here from the database. If I go ahead and click on this button here and I actually do delete, right, this transcript here, then it's going to basically call an endpoint to delete this transcript ID, right? So that's it. That's basically how this works. This app works. And then again, I had this plugged in with RevenueCat. Basically, what's happening with the credit grant is that once RevenueCat actually verifies the purchase transaction, RevenueCat actually has an endpoint that it's calling to my backend system to go ahead and grant this user their credits. And so the whole idea with the whole modal and everything is that once that takes place, once the modal pops up, it's gonna come back home. It's gonna refresh the home page, and it's gonna go ahead and call another endpoint to basically get the user's updated credit amount. All right, so that's basically how this app is working. Again, from just front end to back end, right? So again, this whole trip, this app has, we have the app, which is basically the client, we have the back end, we have the database, and then we have the other services here. So that being said, I do have some cleanup tasks that I need to do, right? There's some UI touch-ups I want to do. I definitely want to improve this here as well, or maybe even have like a slight, maybe two-step onboarding process or something like that. Not totally sure, but I do know that once I get sort of the remaining items cleaned up for this application, it'll definitely be ready as a good V1 to actually ship to the App Store. And that in itself would be a big win to actually know that you can actually leverage AI, build an application, actually ship it, actually get it into the hands of real users. Another thing I need to install into this app is going to be crash monitoring software. So if there's errors or the app is crashing on other user devices, I'm going to be able to actually know all of that information as well. If you are interested in vibe coding mobile applications, do leave a comment below because I am actually thinking about putting together some resources and a community to actually help other people vibe code mobile apps. So here at Notion, I actually created my own dev guides. So I have guides on setting up Docker and web applications. And as you see here, I built one for Expo. So I have here guides on the app setup, authentication functions, styling, RevenueCat, the whole EAS build, right? The whole nine. So I basically went ahead and documented everything in building this app because I knew that subsequent apps I wanted to build, I didn't want to kind of go through the whole learning process again. So everything is documented, and basically by following all the information that I have here in these guides, I'll be able to actually just kind of scaffold an app really quickly, and then from there, it just kind of comes down to building features and building UI, which is the fun part, right? Not doing all the scaffolding stuff. So I am planning to release all of this here in the future, but I actually figured that having these guides in a community setting where it's a lot more accessible, where I can have some video guides to go along with it would be a lot more valuable. So again, if you're interested in that, come with the word vibe code and I'll definitely have some more updates on that community. So anyway, with that being said, thanks so much for checking out the video and I'll see you in the next one.